Mac here with you on Birds 365. Always rocking the red Phillies hat today. We want to talk to him about the Eagles, but we know he's a big Phillies guy as well.
Something going on with the Phillies?
We'll get a little Red October action. By the way, real quick, I want to let you know how much you guys mean to me. All right, so I'm getting an addition put onto my house. So this morning around 7, I woke up and said, let me gather my stuff. I'll leave. I'll go to the mother-in-law's house.
Wow.
And I set up here just for you, so there's no noise, no nothing.
Wow.
And this office right here is where Broad's Media started like 6 years ago.
Really?
Freaking me out being back here. All right. No, I mean, you got pictures like this hanging out in the look at that.
Look at that hat.
That's prom.
Look at that thing.
This is prom. How about that?
How about that? Is that a
Now,
fedora?
you went to the prom with the poor, uneducated girl who actually said yes when you asked her to marry?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
God bless you, and God bless her more so.
God bless her for putting up with that hat, honey.
Yeah. I'm dying at these pictures over here. Unbelievable. But anyway, yes, you guys are that important to me.
That's very funny. All right. What's important to us is the Philadelphia Eagles on offense. And right now, it's run adrift. Not good on a lot of fronts, the biggest of which is Lane Johnson not potentially being in there for the game on Sunday. Johnny was spreading a little optimism earlier, saying this is not the final decision, but trying to paint a rosy picture. I think it's ugly. And I know nothing, and I readily admit I know nothing. You go from high ankle sprain to he's going to gut it out 7 days later. How bad is Jack Driscoll going to hurt them this week against the Miami Dolphins, Hunter?
I guess I have some optimism that with a week to prepare, you can do a little bit better compared to just getting thrown into the fire. But my only counter to my own point would be, if you're Jack Driscoll, what is your job? What is your role? Your role is to be prepared for anything because you're sort of that next option if someone was to go down. So it's a little underwhelming for me to know that there's nothing else that he should be prepared for except for, hey, in the middle of a game, if somebody gets injured, that's my time. And that happened. And man, he got annihilated out there. That entire right side did. So, I think if you're Sirianni and Brian Johnson and, maybe you get some help from Jeff Stoutland because those two right now need to get on the same damn page. I don't know what's going on, but you need to figure it out. But I do have some optimism that with the week to prepare, it can look better than what it did on Sunday afternoon because that was a mess.
Yeah, I agree. If you look at their game plan with Sue against Aaron Donald, that was really good, and they had the week to prepare for that. So I agree with you, Hunter. It's going to be better. But I'm going to jump on my Jack Driscoll sword to bend Jack a little bit. He didn't play well. But, I mean, come on. They're playing, to me, they said, all right, we're going to play the same way with Lane Johnson as we do with Jack Driscoll and say, hey, you're on an island, buddy. And Nick Sirianni tried to bend over backwards and say, no, we helped him here, there. I didn't see a lot of help, Hunter. I got to blame partially the coaching staff saying, we don't have Lane Johnson. We got to shift a little bit more quickly.
I got no issues with you saying that because I think that's part of the pie chart. If we're looking at the pie chart, I'm always going to look at the player just because there are controllables out there that you can do better, right? At the same time, I think that there's a problem all around with Sirianni and Brian Johnson right now, and it kind of slipped under the radar. I'm not sure if I brought this up the last time I was on or not, but because the Phillies were doing their thing, we weren't focusing on it. But when Sirianni, Johnson, and Hurts were all asked about, it was the touchdown where Jalen Hurts hit A.J. Brown and they scored quickly. And we're like, was that the right thing to do against Washington?
Right.
All three of them had different answers. Like none of them were on the same page with that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So and if the Phillies weren't in Red October, we probably would have started picking that apart differently. But I think that there's definitely a problem with game plan, strategy. I mean, I would assume Brian Johnson's still calling plays, but I know that there's some speculation out there that maybe I don't know. I have no idea. And it looks that way. To your point, it looks that way that there's a reason why we have no idea. They're off right now. Those two, Johnson and Sirianni, are off, and they did not do a good job helping out Driscoll.
All right. John used this word several times yesterday, and I agree with him. I love the use of the word. And see if it's in play again this week. Hubris. They said there might a little hubris yesterday that they believe because the Jets were down so many cornerbacks.
Can you use that in a sentence, please? I'm sitting over here like, what the hell is a
going over your
hubris?
head a little bit, brother.
What the hell is a hubris?
Feel free to look that one up when the show's overconfidence, borderline cockness,
excessive pride or self-confidence.
You get the drift.
Yeah.
That because the Jets were down their top 4 cornerbacks, we'll just go out and throw it to whoever we want, whenever we want. We can put up 45 times. We can put 40 points on the board. Didn't quite work out that way. Any fear of hubris this week that they can go toe-to-toe with the Miami Dolphins passing offense, that they have such faith in this. Devontae Smith not going to drop balls again this week the way he did. Dallas Goedert isn't going to cough up a ball in his hands and let a defensive tackle make an interception. That's not happening again. We're going mano-a-mano with the Dolphins when it comes to passing game offense. I would suggest that would be a mistake. Any fear that maybe that's going on in the meetings this week, that they're putting their game plan together?
Would that be a mistake, though, to think that you can go toe-to-toe with the best?
Oh, of course.
Why, though? Why? Why?
They're not as good as the Dolphins. Their passing game isn't as good as the Dolphins.
But I don't think that there's a flaw in thinking that you can be that special, right? I mean, what do you want, Jody? Let me ask you the alternative here. You go in there going, shit, we're screwed.
No, here's the alternative.
Go ahead.
You need to play a balanced offense.
Okay.
I believe
fair.
this team needs to run a balanced offense, not a. What was the run pass ratio? Passes
way too much.
Hand off to running backs. Not even close. They need to be a balanced offense to be their best offense.
Yeah, that's fair. Absolutely. I'm just obviously having some jokes here. No, you're right, though. With the run game, I think they need to get that incorporated again and start leaning on their offensive line, let them do the work instead of having Jalen Hurts drop back as much as he has, for sure. Pick your spots for it to flash and get A.J. Brown the ball, but then also get DeAndre Swift going. I was surprised. I'm like, they're using DeAndre Swift a lot out of the back, a lot of catches, a lot of receptions. Yeah. Let's lean on him with running the football better, although he did fumble the football. And it's like, dude, you can't be fumbling the football. They shot themselves in the foot so much. But yeah, to your point, in regards to passing game and passing game only, they can't act like they're just nonchalantly able to roll the football out, kick it off, and then be okay and compete with Tyreek Hill. I want them to feel confident and feel some swag about what they can do with Devontae and Dallas and AJ. But you got to do it the right way percentage-wise and get Jalen Hurts in the better positions, too. I mean, you can't ask him to drop back that much. It's, but I want to get your opinion on this. I'm sure maybe you guys debated this. Okay. With the game on the line, if you told me Jalen Hurts has the ball in his hands, I'm okay with that instead of running the football, punting it, and daring Zach Wilson. You just can't throw an interception into double coverage. But I'm okay with throwing the football there. What say you guys? Yeah,
I would have. No, because it is Zach Wilson. So I said if it were Aaron Rodgers, I'm like, I'm trying to win the game. 3rd and 9, I'm trying to get a first down because if I give the football back to him, he's going to kill me. Zach Wilson, I'm going to stop. I'm going to have the hubris on defense and say, I can stop freaking Zach Wilson. So I think it's a contextual thing, but I get it from Nick's standpoint, Hunter, in that he's got confidence in his quarterback. He's got trust in his quarterback. That's been earned. And Jalen leaped up, but there's plenty of blame to go around. And in that particular instance, I put most of the blame on Nick Sirianni because it's his job to mitigate those types of circumstances. And if Zach Wilson's on the other side with no timeouts, by the way, minute 5, you're going to have to go 50, 60 yards most likely. Come on. I mean, that's where you temper the ego and say, let me get the hell out of here. It's been a bad day. We got a chance to win a game at -4. That never happens. And you got a chance to win a game. Get the hell out of there with the win. And if he would have punted the football, he would have won that game.
You could tell me that too.
They would have only been -3 at the time because that.
Well, that's true.
The last minus came in on the pick.
Good point. But still, the point holds. -3.
Right.
How many games?
Not much difference.
-3? Yeah. -3, you never win either. Get the hell out of there with a win. And yeah, So that's why I blame the head coach. I do want to go back to the offense because I found the numbers that we were talking about, Jody and Hunter. We're talking about the numbers between 2022 and 2023 through 6 games. And this is freaking eerie. And I give a hat tip to Ruben Frank. 2022 at this point, 147 points. This year, 148. Yards, 2367 in 2022, 2370 this season. 144 first downs last season, 143 this season. 5.6 yards per play last season, 5.6 yards per play this season. 51% on third downs this year, way better than last year, 44%. The only difference is the red zone. They can't score in the red zone. Last year, they were a top 5 team. This year, they're 27th coming into the game. It's the exact same offense. Why do people think it's so shitty?
Because they're not putting up touchdowns when they're at the red zone. Those numbers are eye-opening for sure. But aren't we all confused when we see keepers for Jalen Hurts on third down? Like the first drive, what was it, 19 plays, and then that third and fourth down happened. I don't even know if he got in the end zone. I didn't see a damn replay that made sense to me. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. I'm like, hey, I'll take those 7 points. I feel whatever flow they get, and I actually like some of the scripted plays that they work with to start games. They do go on these nice sustained drives early and then punch one in for 7 after milking 6 minutes, 7 minutes off the clock. It's great, but for some reason, once they get close to that 20-yard line, they fall apart completely, and it goes back to something we started off with. Between the two offensive minds, they got to get on the same page. It seems like everyone, whenever they get there, it gets too tense to the point where Jason Kelsey screaming on the sidelines and mad and showing all sorts of emotions that we haven't seen a blow up like that from Jason Kelsey in God knows how long. There's clearly all sorts of different people on different pages. How do you fix this? I guess it starts with the top guys here. No, it starts with the top offensive minds going back to the tape, realizing what's not working. I don't know. Can you look back into last year's tape? We're 6 weeks into the season. You think you probably would have done that by now. I'm just looking for answers on what I would do if I'm realizing it's struggling this much. Do we go back and see what worked last year? What are we doing now that isn't working? These keeper stuff is a bunch of crap, I think. I don't have the answers for it. I wish I did have the answers, but it's pissing me off. The difference in why people feel this way, though, is because, you know, they're getting Jake Elliott field goals instead of 7. Or if they do get 7, it's by the skin of their teeth.
Hunter, certainly we're all concerned about if Lane Johnson's out of the lineup, what is Jack Driscoll going to do? And I won't put this on the same level, but don't kid yourself. We should be very concerned. If Reed Blankenship doesn't play, there's a big drop-off. We know the drop-off from Jason Kelsey to Jack Driscoll is pretty damn wide. It's very wide. I don't know as wide, but whoever you're going to throw at safety, assuming it's Sidney Brown coming back from an injury, and oh, by the way, he hadn't played all that much when he has played, how scared should we be that Reed Blankenship could miss this game against a team with the best passing offense in the National Football League?
There's probably going to be a lot of frustration of soft coverage. That's for sure. I'm preparing that. I mean, we already know that that's the style of defense anyway in this league, but I'd imagine it's even worse where they're backing off big time and asking Edmonds to keep every play in front of you. Ask Sidney Brown, keep every play in front of you. Don't let Tyreek Hill get by you. And that's basically how they're going to have to do this and hope that you don't die from a billion paper cuts. I mean, you know, that's kind of how I see it just from a very broad sense. Look, last year, the luxury was you weren't that hurt and you made it all the way through and you had all these starters. They say over like 3 or 4 years, it probably is going to pan out into a meme, you know, with the rest of the teams. And I think right now we're experiencing that.
Don't dismiss. By the way, Hunter, don't dismiss yourself. It sounds like you're in the Eagles defensive meeting room. That's exactly
but I'm just saying, I'm preparing myself for it because when it's Sunday, I don't want to pull this nice, luscious amount of lettuce out because I'm aggravated that I'm watching, you know, all sorts of way too much space for Tyreek Hill. But all jokes aside, though, if you are sitting there and you're Sean Desai, who, by the way, I think he's done a great job. He is very willing to switch things up every single down. No, it's like, here's a line, here's Nakobe Dean, here's Cunningham, here's this guy, here's that guy. Sometimes I'm even in the camp where I don't know if he's giving it enough time to even see if it works. He's just throwing new bodies out there left and right. So maybe he's got something up his sleeve that I'm not really anticipating. But I'd have to imagine that heading into this one, the right way to do it with all of your injuries is hope Hassan Reddick can keep feasting, get Josh Sweat, some of those guys up front can get to the quarterback. And if you do, then obviously you don't ask your secondary to have to hold too long back there.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this defense is all about the front, man. Either they get home and you're going to look really good, or they don't get home and you're going to look really bad in the secondary. And, you know, that's fine. You know, back when Jim Schwartz was here, it was the same way. You know,
I love it. Every show,
by the way,
you get a Jim Schwartz comment.
Yeah,
he did great.
That's
last
like
week.
too. And by the way, look at Cleveland's defense for anybody who hasn't noticed.
That's right.
Yeah, Jim's doing a good job there. Myles Garrett might be Defensive Player of the Year through 6 games, but yeah, I mean, this team's about the front, and all we talk about, it seems, is the back seven. That back seven's not good. Let's be honest. It's not good. Bradbury's good. Slay's good when he's healthy. And then everybody else is, I still have confidence in Nakobe Dean developing into a very good player. Nick Morrow has been tremendous in his role, but his role is, hey, feast off what the big guys are doing and just make plays behind them. Zach Cunningham's been fine. Reed Blankenship, when he's healthy, is fine. But if these guys are on an island with no pass rush, it ain't good. Is there anything wrong with that, though?
Well, it's funny when you say that. The first thing I thought of is, this team and every other team, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
Because especially in today's era of offense, with how difficult it is to be a one-on-one or just to stay in front of some of these wide receivers that have such a unique skill set without picking up any sort of flag. It's very difficult. So I think if you run through a lot of these teams and a lot of these really good teams, you could probably copy and paste that statement and apply it across the board. So what do you do with that information? If you're a fan, do you recognize that? Or is it one of those things where it's like, well, I don't care. I only care about the Eagles. So if the Eagles aren't playing well, screw every other team. It's irrelevant. Some people watch it that way. I don't. But yeah, I think you're right. It comes down to, can you get home? Can Hassan Reddick, BG, Fletch, can Jalen Carter come back from that ankle and pop off? Those are the questions we'll figure out on Sunday night. Sunday night at the Lincoln, the Kelly Green fellas.
Yeah, Hunter definitely left out Derek Barnett in that conversation of
got to bring in Derek Barnett for
how true. He's still here. Can you believe it? It's 2023. This dude's still getting those paychecks from Howie.
Johnny Mac, you got to admit, they're getting nothing for Derek Barnett. There isn't a team in the league that is going to even do the old pick swap thing. We give you a 6, but you got to give us a 7 back plus a play. There's not a team in the league that's going to touch Derek Barnett. He's going to be here because I still stand by.
I still stand by. Somebody will do the pick swap if there are so many bad teams defensively with bad pass rushes. Yeah, somebody will do that. I'll give you.
Happen.
In other words, just moving draft space. So you move up 20 spots in the draft. Somebody will do that. If the Eagles want to trade him. And I don't know if the Eagles want to trade him because they value him.
Let's drive
Jody crazy, which is what really drives Jody
49 in snaps at pressuring the quarterback this year. 0-for-49. Let's hold on to him.
But they keep playing him. Why do they keep playing him? Because they rotate defensive linemen.
He's a good guy, because he's good in the locker room.
But you're angry.
They lose a segment of the tape every week after the game where they got to go and evaluate. It just gets lost. It hits the cutting room floor somehow. I can't explain it.
Well, yeah, you're getting angry at me. You got to blame Howie. Howie's the guy. I mean, he's the one.
I'm angry at Howie. No. I'm just confirming that you still think that Howie's going to be able to somehow suck another team into giving him something, and I don't buy it.
First of all,
you can't rule Howie out of that.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Mickey Loomis exists. Mickey Loomis still exists.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he could. You're telling me he can't police freaking Ryan Poles or Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah?
That's
He
what
can
I'm.
police those guys in his
That's what I'm
sleep.
telling you. Kwesi knows that the Vikings are going nowhere fast. Maybe Kwesi can be had. It's not going to be had in this
Marcus
situation.
Davenport, I got news for you. Marcus Davenport suffered a high ankle sprain. They have no pass rushers. Howie's probably already been on the phone. He might get a 4th rounder from that moron. You know, never dismiss Howie Roseman's
Yeah,
ability
but
to
see,
police
John, we'll never know. We'll never be able to prove it because I can tell you what happens when a trade deadline comes and goes in 2 weeks from today. Well, the Eagles wanted to keep him. Why? Please, someone explain to me why. He's
Well, that means
0 for 49 at pressuring the quarterback this year. And you're going to make an argument to me, Howie Roseman, that you need Derek Barnett here? Please do so. Please explain that to me.
Well, I'm playing Howie's kept him here. As Hunter pointed out, he's still here. He's still here. He's still here. The
So
Eagles
does that make it right because we can't ever think Howie makes a mistake? Is that
well? No. Howie makes mistakes. All Jalen Reagor, most notably recently. But I will say this, and I say this all the time: he builds the right way. The Eagles have the best defensive front in football. Now, Derek Barnett's a very small part of that. Very small. You know, if you want, very small. But part of their philosophy, that's why Contavious Street, we're like, why is Contavious Street here? Why is Contavious Street here? Well, all of a sudden, somebody gets hurt and he's playing, and that's an NFL player. Nobody else has NFL players 9th or 10th on their depth chart. They build this the right way, foundation, offensive front, defensive front. For as much as we're killing Jack Driscoll, guys, if other teams don't have Jack Driscoll, they don't even have Jack Driscoll, they'd be worse. And they build this thing the right way. We were talking about Atlanta yesterday, Hunter. Oh, they get Bijan Robinson and Drake London and Kyle Pitts, and they don't have a quarterback and they can't block anybody. But they got great skill position players. What does that do for you?
Yeah, it's a good point with the Jack Driscoll thing, though. I say it all the time. The luxury we have here, because we're so accustomed to left tackles that are elite level after elite level, and it's just one big rotation of greatness, right? I mean, you just see from Jason Peters, and it just goes on to all this. It's like nonstop greatness left and right. Well, you don't understand that. Go watch the Giants for 16 games. Go watch some of these other teams. You don't understand. With that said, though, we got to clean it up or else we're going to lose, and we can't have that either. So we got to demand more out of the right side than what we got. But, yeah, there's starters who are worse than Jack Driscoll that play every game for every other team. That's why I'm optimistic that they can apply something throughout the week to make sure that they're putting these players in a better position to succeed, and then the offense can start moving.
All right, on the last one for me, and this is actually kind of surprising. Because it seems to me like 20 minutes ago that Nick Sirianni kind of stumbled and fumbled through his introductory press conference. And that night I'm fielding calls on WIP about, how did they hire this buffoon? They need to fire him immediately. He hadn't even stepped on the sidelines yet, but they want to run him out of town. Does seem like just minutes ago. It's now 2.5 years. So it's not 20 minutes ago. And they played a bunch of football games since. But with the team they have now, and there's turnover every year in the NFL, with the Eagles, pretty significant turnover from Sirianni's first year. So there's only, what would you say, John, about a quarter of the team that has been here last year and this year. About 3/4 of the team don't go back to the 9-7, got beat by Tampa in the first round of the playoff year. So we have very few examples of how the Eagles play after a loss. You had the Washington loss last year. You had the Dallas loss, came back the next week, but that was with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. This is the first one after a loss this year. What's your read on this Philadelphia Eagle group coming off a loss? Focus, do what they have to do, ability to put in the rearview mirror. You got faith that this group as is, without much to really point to and say, well, they did this previously. What kind of faith you got in this team bouncing back from a loss?
A lot. And I don't want to disrespect Nick Sirianni here because he does have a hand in it, but it just really stems from Kelsey and Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox and Lane Johnson. We'll see what his update is and all, but there's just something different about the core veteran leadership that this group has. And I'll even throw Jalen Hurts in there, even though, he's not those guys in regards to being in the room as long as they have, but just the way he carries himself, we know that he's wired like a different type of dude. So I just think in the room, they understand. Like I heard BG talk today on the morning show on WIP. He's talking about when they went back to the film, they just saw these tiny details that made massive differences. They clean up those tiny details and they're ready to rock. I mean, they're aware of what the end goal is. They're aware of the process to get back there. The way that this team competes every day and the way that they approach this season, coming back from, a Super Bowl loss, and then you start out 5-0 the next season. It's not something that's normal here. The makeup in that room is special. So I'm going to give them the leash here and say I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, because what team loses a Super Bowl, starts the next season off 5-0, and then kind of this is the way that they do it. And I have faith that they're wired the right way to bounce back, even though this one was tough. But yeah, let's be honest. That Sunday was a weird Sunday. The way the 49ers lost, it was bizarre. Right? It's your Jets stink, in my opinion. But whatever, that type of stuff happens. You move on, and then you bounce back against Miami. You were at the game, weren't you, Jody?
Yes, I was. And
firing up some fans with a Jets sweatshirt
Jets
on.
defense is legit. They're down there, two top corners.
They are.
Zach Wilson. So, and that's a big part of
a lot of talent on
but
defense.
Don't tell me the Jets stink when they're rolling that defense.
For the New York Football Jets, although Robert Saleh's got to learn to tone it down a little.
Dude, for some reason I came to conclusion was it yesterday? I don't know. He's like a Gabe Kapler to me. I can't. I don't know if it's the shiny head. I don't know, but he bothers me. I can't stand looking at his face. I can't stand it.
He made a tactical error by saying they've embarrassed everybody.
They've embarrassed everybody. Everybody.
Dak embarrassed you, big guy. You got to pick and choose your words carefully on that one. That's
your head coach.
Major faux pas by Coach Sal. I would agree with you on there. All right. So when is the little addition to the Brody family due?
Mid-December.
All right, mid-December at Broads81. Make sure you follow Hunter and say congratulations. Now, do you know, boy or girl? Do we know?
Yes,
yet?
We're having a baby girl, Brooklyn.
Baby girl.
We're going.
I was going to tell
Brody.
you, I was going to say get him on the right track to play quarterback, because quarterback play in this league stinks.
I'm thinking tennis. I was watching Coco golf at the U.S. Open, and I'm like, one day, Brooklyn Brody serving at the U.S. Open.
There we go. That's a way to go. Now, finally, by the way, so December, you're going to have finally, for the first time in your life, you're going to have a little less energy, I'm going to guess.
We don't know yet. We don't know yet.
Oh, I can pretty much guarantee it. You tell me Brooklyn Brody's coming back from the hospital sleeping through the night. Not happening, big guy.
Yeah, I'll get lucky.
You're used to having your life rearranged. It's just a foregone conclusion, buddy.
That's all right. I'm
many years removed from it now, but believe me when I tell you, I remember watching Jerry Springer at 2:30 in the morning, rocking a little one, trying to get her back to bed. Yeah, that does change your life a little bit.
I went to Jerry Springer live once.
Nice.
I saw people with beads on too, getting the beads going. Ooh, hey, I don't know.
Former mayor of Cincinnati, Jerry Springer, I believe.
Unreal. That knowledge you don't get anywhere but Birds 365.
Hey, you got to watch something at 3:30 in the morning when the kid's up, so it might as well be Jerry Springer. Bro, it's always a pleasure, brother. Thanks for doing it. We've got it circled on the calendar. Mid-December, you're out. We're not going to be able to get you on, so we'll get you on plenty between now and then.
No, he's going to be up. Maybe we can get him.
Yeah, you can get. Listen, I'm always here for you. You know that.
Thanks, son.
You got it. See you guys.
He'll be bringing Brooklyn on camera with him when he joins us come December. All right, that's Hunter Brody. Thank you much for jumping in. All right, Mac coming back. You know what we got to do. Put a bow on this show.